Why is 2026 the year of Linux? Well, I'll show you. But first, I'm going to give you a background on myself. As a kid and a teenager, I played a lot of video games like Overwatch, Minecraft, Counter-Strike, and others. This obsession of video games, and honestly, specifically making Minecraft servers, really gave me a good understanding of computers and helped me fall in love with them. In college, I then decided to study computer science, and here is where I learned a lot more about computing. I learned how to use terminal in Linux. I also learned how to, just navigate an operating system in general. So not only did I get better at Linux, but I also got better at Windows because I was able to use the built-in shell there. And overall, it just gave me a really good understanding of what can be accomplished on a computer and what a computer can really be. I feel like before that, I was just using it to play video games. It was very surface level interactions with the computer. Now that I have a deeper understanding of what my computer does and what it can do, I feel like Linux is the perfect operating system for me. There's a lot of things that only Linux can do or can do better than other operating systems. And I'm going to show you some of them today so that you guys can see whether or not Linux is for you. So I'm going to start first with the customization. So I am using these dot files called a marquee. Dot files are essentially just settings that are written in text files that you can download from anyone on the internet. You can also send anybody your dot files, meaning you can send essentially your whole configuration, all your settings over to your friend, and he can have the exact same setup as you do. So I use these dot files called a marquee. These are made by a very prolific programmer, DHH. And this basically allows me to easily customize my setup. So if I go to the marquee menu here, you'll see that I am currently using the black gold theme. So this can change in an instant. So if I choose Ethereum, you'll see the background changes, but that's not all. If I open the terminal and let's say I just open BTOP, or even if I open my file manager, you'll see things change. So let me just show you what it looked like before. So if I go back over to the marquee menu, style, theme, I go to black gold. See, everything changes. See, all the colors change, all the accent colors. This applies to a bunch of different apps. So if I use Chromium, that also changes. So let me show you another theme here. So if I choose, let me choose a light theme. If I choose Capuchin Latte, you'll see everything changes. So this is great for customizability because not only can you use other people's themes to completely change the way your computer looks, you can also make your own themes, which completely changes the game for customization. And keep in mind, I use Hyperland, which is one desktop environment. There's so many other desktop environments like GNOME or KDE Plasma, which are a lot more similar to Windows or Mac OS than something like Hyperland, which is supposed to be very lightweight, very bare bones, and allows you to customize it in very unique ways. However, if you don't like what you've seen in this video so far, don't think that you won't like Linux because there's just one way to use the operating system. If you look at something like Ubuntu or Linux Mint or another more user-friendly operating system, you'll see a lot more familiar UX and UI. This means you have a notification center, you have a battery monitor, you'll have a unified app search, things like that. In Hyperland, you can get all those tools, but you have to bring them yourself, meaning you have to find what you want your battery monitor to be. You have to find what you want your notification center to be. So nothing's really built in. You just decide what you want to use. So if you don't like the default notification center of Windows, you might like a different notification center made by someone completely different. And that brings me to my next point. The culture around Linux is all about being bloat-free. That means no forced updates, no ads in your operating system, no telemetry unless you install it, meaning your operating system can't track you, doesn't know where you are, doesn't know what you're up to, meaning your CPU, your GPU, your RAM, your Wi-Fi, they're all doing what you told them to do, not what your operating system wants you to do, meaning you're the one in control. And if you're ever in doubt about what your computer is doing, you can always check the code base because most Linux applications are open source, meaning if you understand the code, you could just read the code and understand what's happening. Another benefit to Linux is it has better performance on older laptops and desktops. This means if you have a computer you haven't used in 10 years because you can't run Minecraft anymore, well, give it a shot on Linux. It might just be able to do it. It also has benefits for new hardware, as long as you're not using NVIDIA because they have terrible Linux support.
So NVIDIA, fuck you.
But if you're on Radeon or Intel graphics, you should have a great experience. Your operating system will use less RAM and less CPU cycles, meaning it's freed up for any tasks you might need. And finally, best of all, if you're a developer, developers, 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 developers. Yes! At the end of the day, Linux is the go-to platform for developers. Developer tooling is usually made for Unix environments first before it's ever made for DOS. Things like containerization, SSH, any build tools, any scripting, any sort of programming you might need to do, You don't have to use WSL, meaning you don't have to run a virtualization layer, meaning your code execution will be faster. Even if you're not a developer, you benefit from these things directly because a lot of the command line tools or terminal interfaces that you might want to be using are made for Unix first environments as well. This is just a small taste of what's possible when you use an operating system like Linux and the culture that surrounds it. But it doesn't come without its drawbacks. For example, when it comes to gaming, some games like Fortnite, Valorant, Apex Legends, and others aren't supported on Linux because the anti-cheat software is Windows only. Honestly, with the continued growth of the Linux user base on Steam, there's a good chance that this will change in the next few years. There's also some applications that just straight up don't have a Linux version, like Adobe or Microsoft Office apps. There's some great alternatives to all these apps though on Linux. For example, I use a video editor called KDN Live. It has all the features that I used to use on Sony Vegas Pro, and it works great. That's all I have to say about Linux for today. I hope you all enjoy the video and have a great day.